Mic check, it's time for In the Trenches. Bucks battles, tales from the benches. No fluff, straight edge defenses. Buccaneer talk, breaking down the fences.
Hello everybody and welcome back to In the Trenches. First and foremost, let's thank our people at Manny and Gordon. For those of you looking for a lawyer, I know Jack Gordon's a cool dude, but it's not about being cool, it's about going to lawyers that know what the hell they're doing and have actually tried some cases. So that's what Manny and Gordon's all about. So go check them out at fightnegligence.com. All right, In the Trenches is the name of this podcast. That's where games are won and lost. All games, by the way. Our Buccaneers are 4-5. They lose to the Chiefs, in Kansas City, 30-24. Before the game, I didn't hear or see a lot of people predicting Bucs win. But, as a Buc fan, I hear a lot of people say we played well. That's great. The Bucs did actually play well. I mean, they took them to overtime. That's great. The only problem is you don't really get like a hero biscuit for that. Because now you have to play San Francisco, who's a completely different team. They have completely different strengths and weaknesses. And that game you just lost on Monday night doesn't give you anything but a loss. It doesn't give you any more confidence. It just doesn't. So now we got to mess around and play a San Francisco team coming off a bye. We're coming off a short week. That's tough sledding, okay? And Buccaneers being 4-5. Now 4-5 is one thing, but if you're 4-5 and you're surging, that's a lot different than 4-5 and you're 1-4 in your last 5 games. That's completely different, because this Buccaneer team just is not doing anything consistently. And going into that game, listen, the Chiefs are on a 13-game win streak. If you go back to last year, that's a team that expects to win. All right, but they're not a team that blows a lot of teams out. The Buccaneers were 5-1 in the last 6 road games. Those are good statistics. Now, Baker Mayfield, I think he had 3 straight 300-yard passing games. So, the things were leading that the Buccaneers can fight them. Like I said before, not a lot of people were, actually picking the Buccaneers, including myself. And I tell you what I did. I couldn't put money on the Buccaneers. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because if you told me they were going to lose by 21 points, that wouldn't have been the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. But going into this game, I saw a lot of mismatches for the Buccaneers on the Buccaneers side. You have a porous defense that is going against a guy who may be the best at whoever played the position of Patrick Mahomes. Our offense is very up and down. That Chiefs defense is very hard to run against. And, when you think about Chris Jones against Cody Mauch, I don't like that matchup. I don't think anybody liked the matchup. And I don't think I like the matchup the Buccaneers offense against Kansas City's defense. That being said, I think they did a pretty darn good job of scoring points, moving the ball. It didn't look like we were outmatched, okay? So the Buccaneers are figuring out ways to dink and dunk. Kansas City did a lot of the same if you really watch that game. At one point, there was a lot of passes by Mahomes, but none of them are going over 10 yards. And Baker Mayfield was a lot of the same. But this Buccaneer team still doesn't really have an identity, okay? Are they a running team? Are they a passing team? Are they a dink and dunk team? There were a time where they were a big play team, but now our offense looks completely different. Our go-to guy's Cade Otton, which doesn't make you a high-flying team, although Cade Otton's making money, all right? That young man's making money. Good for you. Since, Mike is gone and Chris is gone, Cade Otton has become public enemy number 1 with Baker Mayfield, and that's okay. But how many games are you going to win when Cade Otton is the biggest weapon out there? But this Buccaneer offense, the first drive, go down there. Baker got lucky, could have got intercepted. That could have turned out poorly. But the first half was a lot of going back and forth, a lot of feeling out, a lot of low-scoring type stuff. If you look at the Buccaneers' first touchdown, Tristan Wirfs does a great job of a reach block on a stretch play, gets his block, comes off of that block, and makes another block. So Tristan Wirfs, in essence, made 3 blocks on 1 play. So you talk about who's the best offensive lineman ever for the Buccaneers, we can stop talking. It's Tristan Wirfs, period, done over with, okay? Go back and watch that play on the stretch touchdown to the left side, what Tristan Wirfs did. Amazing football player. Got another penalty, another big penalty though, another big face mask. Would have been 2nd and 2, end up being, I think, 1st and 25. They didn't get that first down. So Tristan is starting to pile up some penalties now. I don't think he might have had 2 penalties his first four years. Now every week you're starting to see a little Tristan worse, but he's still one of the best at what he does. Now, this Buccaneer team, listen to sports radio, and I listen to very little of it now since all my people are gone. I hear a lot of them talking about Rashad should be the starter, and Bucky should be the starter, and Tucker should be the starter. To me, it's wasted breath, okay? You know who knows who the starter should be? The coaches. There's a reason why Rashad starts. It's because he's the most rounded football player we got. Bucky is great. He bounces around. He looks like Barry Sanders at times. Do you know he can block? Do you know he can pick the whole offense up? So just leave it to the coaches to see who should be starting. One week it looks like Rashad's the guy, then Bucky, then Tucker. It comes down to the offensive line, guys and gals, okay? So when you're looking out there, and I'm seeing Rashad sometimes looks fantastic, but they're all numbers and they're all just guys. It comes down to, once again, in the trenches and what's happening in front of them. It doesn't matter who's a running back. We may be playing against one of the very few difference makers in McCaffrey, and he make a difference this year. And Henry is the other guy. Other than that, they're all a bunch of numbers and they're all a bunch of names, and that's it. I kind of liked Liam Cohen's game plan because obviously we're limited in stretching the field. But there's one player I remember where Otten ended up trying to block Karloftis, ended up in a sack, and I just hate to see wasted plays, okay? And good offensive coordinators, the Shanahans, they don't waste plays. So let's just keep an eye on Liam Cohen as we go forward, because what scares me is this Buccaneer team that is dinking and dunking and throwing the ball 5 yards a lot. Boy, when teams game plan for you, they're going to start jumping on some of those plays. And those are the ones that go the other way for touchdowns. So let's keep an eye on this Buccaneer team because, 1-4 in the last 5 games, they're not fooling nobody right now. Although I don't think offense is their biggest problem. Now, like I said, Kate Otten is making money, and I love to see that. Last drive, I liked the way I saw Baker spread the ball around to a lot of different receivers. But in general, we're missing something. And I don't know what it is offensively, but we're missing something. We're running the ball okay. Receivers are in it a little bit. We're getting what we are with Kate Otten. But it's not scaring anybody to me. It's scoring some points here and there, but it's not scary and it's not consistent. And last week I thought was one of those games where if you considered yourself a running team, that's one of those games where you just put it on the offensive line and let them go. And they didn't do that. So, that's not on me. I'm an old school type dude. Now, defensively, the Bucs were giving up 5.2 yards per carry, which is the second worst in the entire league. So I didn't like their matchup against Kansas City going in. 3rd down, absolutely, positively killed the Buccaneers against Kansas City. He did well on 1st and 2nd down. 3rd downs killed him. And 3rd downs will kill anybody. You do well on 1st and 2nd down, they got 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, and they're figuring out ways to get them. So the good defenses don't allow teams to get 3rd and long. You remember back in the heyday of the Buccaneers when they were great defensively? 3rd and 8, you're punting. You ain't getting it. Maybe 1 out of 10. That's what a great defense does. You know what a great defense doesn't do? It doesn't give up 28 first downs. It doesn't allow the other team to have 83 plays. And it doesn't allow the other team to have the ball for 40 minutes. That's not even a good defense. And this defense has not been good for a while. Patrick Mahomes is 34 for 44. It's too easy. It's just too easy for 290 yards. So, Antoine Winfield Jr., I still see him around the ball. He almost made a big pick with 12 seconds left, which would have been huge. But we're just not hearing the big names enough. Vita Vea is usually good for 3-4 plays a game. The rest of it's silent. JTS, you're awful. I don't know what else to say. I just don't know why he's playing. Still don't. We must not have anybody else, but he's just a bad football player. Don't know what else to say. It's not even because he's a first rounder. Just because he's a bad football player. Watch him. I just don't understand the whole thing. And let's talk about some of the particulars going on in the game. I hate to question coaches' decisions. I hate it because decisions come from something. At the end of that game, I thought it would have made complete, total sense to go for 2. When you look back at it, and listen, sometimes it goes by the flow of the game, and maybe Todd wasn't even thinking about going for 2. He was thinking about scoring a touchdown. When you look back and you're playing Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, go for 2. Don't let him touch the ball no more. Baker Mayfield and the offense would have been the last thing on the field. You either make it or the game's over. I like that scenario better than flipping a coin and maybe giving it to Patrick Mahomes, because then the game's going to be over as we saw. So I understand anybody questioning going for 2, because I think I would have went for 2 myself, okay? I just think if you have the Bucs' old defense, maybe you kick the extra point and you depend on your defense, but we don't have that, all right? A lot of people in sports radio this week are talking about Todd Bowles has to go. Shame on you. Every time he loses a game, he has to go. Every single freaking time. Todd Bowles is as good as the players that are put in front of him. You win a Super Bowl, you know how you win Super Bowls? By rushing the passer, getting turnovers, protecting your quarterback, running the ball efficiently. We're not doing none of that. We're not getting any big plays. We're not doing any of it. We're not that talented. So you're going to wait till your team's not that talented and you lose a game in overtime on the road to a better football team, and you want to talk about Todd Bowles being the problem? Well, obviously you don't like the man, so that's on you. It's all good. But there's too much talk about firing the coach. I believe the Bucs have won the South, 4 or 5 straight years. You're going to fire the coach because he lost the game on the road. I just don't quite understand that type of talk. The Buccaneers have one of the easiest schedules going forward. I think the Buccaneers are good enough offensively to fight with everybody. I don't know if the Buccaneers are good enough defensively to put a bunch of wins together. I don't see it, unfortunately. So we'll see. The Niners are coming up. The Niners had coming off a bye week. They're going to be nice and healthy. The Buccaneers are going to be beat up coming off a short Monday night week. We'll see. You don't want to lose this game, because you lose this game, you might be in trouble already. But you lose this game, it's, now we start talking about next year and draft picks and stuff like that. And we've been in the South too many years in a row. We don't want to do that here too soon. And the Buccaneers always find a way to surprise us. Like the Chamberlain Storm, who are also 7-2. I always have to put that in there. Chamberlain Storm just beat Leonard, who was our equivalent. Beat them in their house, which was a beautiful thing. Made us 7-2. We are now in the playoffs officially. I had the great Derek Brooks come by our practice today and talk to our young boys about being selfless and team. And hopefully some of our young boys listen to it. And we'll be playing Jefferson tomorrow at Chamberlain for the district championship. And it's a fun thing to be part of. It's good for our young men to be part of something winning, because some of those kids on that team haven't won ever. So it's good to see their faces, because nobody likes losing. So big ups to Chamberlain football, and let's hope the Buccaneers get some stuff done next week as well. Come by Dignitary Cafe and hang out with us. We have the best kratom and the best kava in town. We even have coffee as well, Kawa Coffee, and just a cool place to hang out. We're also 420 friendly. All right, we have a smoke shop here as well. Have a wonderful week, and please be safe. Peace out.
Learn from the vets, been there, done that. Breaking down the game, facts on facts.
Some law firms, they try to sell you on how big they are. But wouldn't you prefer to know how qualified and experienced and credentialed their lawyers are?
Call Manny and Gordon or visit us at fightnegligence.com.